World population is increasing quickly and is expected to exceed 9 billion by the year 2050. The population is ageing too, and the number of people aged over 60 is also on the rise. So not only is there going to be more people, the people will be older. Sadly, at some point, that large number of aged people will die. It was announced cemetery space in Sydney is expected to be exhausted by the year 2035, leaving people asking the question, where will we bury our dead? And so began the Green Burial movement, proposing a number of alternate methods of disposing of the human body. One method of eco-burial gaining attention is the burial pod, which claims to be more sustainable than traditional burial. In this method, the coffin is replaced with a biodegradable plastic egg, which is then buried with a tree planted above it. The article, The Biodegradable Burial Pod That Turns Your Body into a Tree, raises a number of questions about the sustainability of current burial methods. But are the current human body disposal methods really as bad as the article claims them to be? After reading the article, I was initially caught up in the pictures used. Images were stunning, and I couldn't imagine a more peaceful and respectful way to say goodbye to a deceased loved one. I was really blown away by the concept of using a tree instead of a headstone. In some way, it was almost as if I felt the loved one would somehow live on in the form of a tree. And then it hit me. This is not just a body. This is someone's mother, brother, father, grandmother, sister, or child. I was looking at the issue from simply an environmental perspective and hadn't considered social and economic factors contributing to the issue. So I dug a little deeper. Economically, funeral industries provide over $100 million to the Australian economy and offer over 300,000 jobs. Competition for land has increased costs associated with funerals, with the average burial costing over $10,000. These costs have further increased by soaring prices for burial plots in high-density, desirable locations. Christian Clothis, who has published several peer-reviewed articles on cemetery equality, notes more cemeteries are located in poorer and lower socio-economic communities. Whilst the income generated by the funeral industry is aligned with the National Strategy Guidelines for Ecological Sustainable Development by providing a strong and healthy economy, this is offset by high costs associated with burials and lack of affordability for poorer communities. Overseas, in higher density locations, the funeral industry is even less attainable, with the rich buying up land and auctioning burial plots to the highest bidder. Waiting lists for burial plots have already been generated, indicating current human body disposal methods are not sustainable, as they don't meet the needs of the current generation, let alone future generations. Spatial injustice and inequality completely disregards the Ecological Sustainable Development Guideline of intra- and intergenerational equity. Environmentally, current burial methods have raised some eyebrows. Issues surrounding the use of toxic embalming fluids polluting soils and water, air pollution from crematoriums and coffins draining natural resources have been associated with the funeral industry. Spongeberg and Bex, two highly credible scientists with strong backgrounds in science, disregard this claim, noting increased knowledge on toxicity has led to less toxic substances being used in embalming fluids. However, the replacement product, formaldehyde, is far from eco-friendly and can cause serious health impacts for people and considerable effects on aquatic ecosystems. This denotes from the Ecological Sustainable Development Guideline a conservation of ecological integrity. Although Davies and Bennett, highly experienced scientists with several peer-reviewed articles on the subject, note the importance of cemeteries in the delivery of ecosystem services, improving ecological integrity, which is in line with ecological sustainable development goals. Religion and social values strongly influence the sustainability of the funeral industry. Cremation was once opposed by the Catholic Church and is still forbidden today by Islamic religion. Traditionally, cemeteries are situated close to communities and provide a place of both worship and mourning. Today, cemeteries provide essential green spaces in a rapidly urbanising environment. Planning for cemeteries becomes difficult as nobody wants to live near a cemetery. As my final reflection, the issue of whether burials are sustainable is dependent on the complex linkages between social, economic, and environmental factors. Without social change, altering methods of human body disposal becomes difficult. Government incentives provided for the use of green burial methods could aid in both the cost of burials and the way burial is seen by people. Environmentally, a simple cardboard box would be the most sustainable way of burying the dead, but with death still glorified by the living, I am doubtful many people would want to use this method. One thing is for certain, though. The current methods of burial is reaching carrying capacity, particularly evident in countries like Singapore, where extreme measures of vertical cemeteries and underground cities are being implemented. The only drawbacks I can see from the pods is that they're still buried, using land which could be better purposed for housing and agriculture. So is it sustainable to continue to bury the dead? Only if the land use can be continually reused, which is also opposed by society. We will eventually run out of space. Some of us already have.